Hello and good afternoon to everyone who's taking time out of their busy schedules and joining us for this exclusive webinar with the First Faculty of Medicine, Charles University. Today's webinar will go on for 1 hour. In the first 20 to 30 minutes, we will be discussing about the university, and then we'll move on to the Q&A session where we'll be giving you a chance to interact with our esteemed guests as well. Um, with that being said, we have Dr. Brisman, the Vice Dean of the First Faculty of Medicine, Charles University with us. We have Dr. Veronica, and we have Dr. Felipe as well. Over to you, Dr. Helia.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this webinar. My name is Helia Khalidi. I myself, like you, I came from Dubai. I am a graduate of LF1 as of July. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to walk you through the university, tell you more about it, and see if this attracts you and if you are a good fit for Prague and for First Faculty. So if I will just, is my screen visible to everyone? Is that good?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So to give you a more insight about me, I graduated from Dubai Shoifat in 2017, and I decided that I wanted to do medicine. I wasn't sure where I wanted to go. I just knew I wanted to do it in Europe. And I didn't want to do it through the US way of doing 4 years of undergrad and then doing it through an MCAT. During that time, I did see other people from my school going into Prague and going into First Faculty specifically, and I did more research about it, and then I went. When I was in Prague, I decided that I wanted to go to the UK after for my specialty, but then just being in Prague for longer, I fell in love with the city. I formed my roots there. So now I'm working in Prague as well. I've decided to continue my specialization there. But I also thought it was such a pity to not talk more about this university and more about this faculty to other people who are like me, who came from Dubai. And I just thought it would be best if people from the UAE heard it from someone who also came from the UAE, just to get a better idea of how you can compare the two countries, because they're very different, but they're actually very similar as well at the same time. So the First Faculty of Medicine is situated in Prague, which is the heart of Europe, and it has so many benefits that you will see for yourself in this presentation. So we were founded in 1348 by Charles IV, and it actually makes us not only the oldest university in Central Europe, but the 10th oldest medical school and the 11th oldest general university in the world. So in every corner, and you will see this when you are in Prague and when you are in the campus, of every corner tells a different story. Every corner there's some statue or some monument or some plaque representing, honestly, some of the biggest stars of medicine and medical field. And you don't see this in other universities as much as you do in Charles. You are hands-on from day one, from the first year, which I will go into more about the curriculum, but from first year, you will be seeing patients, you will be immersed in the clinical field, you will have access to everything from the first day. So we make sure that you come out of it not being scared, not being frightened, not being shy to communicate, to interact with patients at all. You will come out as a well-rounded doctor. We are a global family. As I know, most of you know, in Dubai, it is filled with expats. You have people from all around the world. It is the same in Prague. It is the same in First Faculty. You will not feel out of place. You will not have that big of a cultural shock. It genuinely does feel like a second Dubai in this sense. There are so many people from all around the world, all around like every country you can name of, and you will just be immersed in so many different cultures of so many different people that it will feel like home in a sense, because we all come from different countries in Dubai as well. You will live in the heart of Europe. It is so convenient because you'll have some bank holidays and it's just so easy to go visit any countries nearby or any cities, even in Czech Republic, and you won't have an issue of it's so accessible to everywhere. And this is something that you will not see in other countries of, let's say, if you were going to the south of Europe or the north of Europe, it is more difficult to get to places, but you are literally in the heart of it. It is in the middle of everything, and travels and destinations, and none of this will ever be an issue for you, ever, ever, ever. And a little fun fact is, if you know Albert Einstein, he actually gave a lecture for a while at Charles University in 1911. We had a professor who was taught by Albert Einstein in the biophysics department, which you will have a subject in your first year. So just imagine you will be in the lecture hall that was once taught by Albert Einstein. So here's some photos to give you a better idea of our university and the people in it. These actually are graduates of my year as well. They're some of my closest friends. All of them very well-rounded doctors right now. Now, some more about our academic field. We are a distinguished faculty, so our doctors, our professors, they're not just, normal professors. Usually all of them have 10 to 12 letters after their name. They are very esteemed faculty members with the highest positions in their field. They have contributed fascinating papers to the medical field, to academia. You will be learning from the people who have honestly invented the rules itself. And that's fascinating. Like, you can actually talk to some of the greatest minds in academia. Our curriculum is very different compared to other universities in Central Europe, but that's because we want to make sure it's innovative. You have access to everything. You have access to patients. It will be hard at first, but then at the end of the 6 years, you won't even think about it. You won't even be shy to talk to any patients or to do anything, because it will be like second nature to you. We do have a number of research opportunities over here, which I think is a pity for you to go through medical field and to not also contribute to academia. You are putting all this energy to study, but why not also put a bit more to give a bit to science at the same time? And the good thing is, from our university, you have so many opportunities to do that. I have been in research since first year myself. I think it's a wonderful thing to do. I think it just broadens your knowledge in medicine, and you feel so accomplished being able to contribute something to the field as well as get something from the field. You do have personalized mentorships, which I will go into more detail in the end later. But we really take care of you. If you join us, you are like our family. We make sure that you're doing well. We make sure that you have no struggles, because we know it's hard. First year is difficult. We've all been in your situation. It's very common for you to struggle maybe in the beginning for a bit, just until you get the hands of everything. But we make sure you do well. There's multiple workshops, there's tutoring sessions. Just when you join us, you really are our family. Like, we make sure you do well throughout the year. So after Brexit, I know there have been a lot of talk of how the degree will be certified in from other countries, but I wouldn't worry about this at all. For us, you have automatic full GMC and full GDC if you are a dentist, without any exams. You do not need to do the PLAB. You do not need to do anything. It's automatically registered. It's very simply done. And you also have full accreditation in the US. And currently we are also working. So if you do want to work to come to Dubai after the UAE, you would need 2 years work experience, but currently we're working to omit those 2 years work experience as well. So you can come straight from university to the UAE if that's what you want. And another fun fact is that the blood type groups was actually developed by Jan Jansky, who is also another distinguished alumni in our faculty. So this is what I mean of, you have such big foundational work set by our alumni and set by our doctors. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more that there is to this. And you will learn everything, something new every day. Every day will be a school day for you in this sense. So these are some other photos regarding you will have workshops, you will have simulations, you will have everything prepared for you. We do not let you leave without you knowing everything and for you to be confident in everything, because it's our responsibility to make sure you end up as a well-rounded doctor or a well-rounded dentist, and you should not worry about this at all. You will come out of it knowing, like, being confident in what you do and being confident in seeing patients from day one. Now, for our student support, we have an organization that has been formed by students. It was actually formed by our vice dean when he was a student. It's called LF1 MedSoc. It organizes everything from workshops to events to sporting events, parties, academic tutoring sessions. Anything you need and you need help with, they will help you for your visa, for your housing. It is a lovely student support organization, and you can start by joining it from day one as well. We have elections for it. You can run for different positions. You can run for different, like, minor positions if you want. It is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful student organization. And I remember when I was deciding what university I wanted to go to after I got my offers, MedSoc was one of the things that really pushed me towards LF1, because it was one of the few Central European medical schools that has such a strong student support organization. Something we do have as well is the Academic Senate, which chooses your deans, your vice deans, your tuitions. Any major decisions is decided by the Academic Senate. And the beauty of the Academic Senate is that it's not just people that you don't know, some doctors, some professors who you have no access to. It's actually made up 15 students and 15 professors. So they will be our voice in the Senate, and you vote who these 15 people were. So it is your choice of who you want to represent you, and they decide everything. So we may be old in age, but we are really young at heart in this sense. Now, more about the personalized academic support. When you do join our university, you will be set into different groups, and there's around, I think, 10 groups per year. So they're small, and every group has group guides. They have 3 to 4 group guides who are responsible for you. And these are students from older years, anywhere from 2nd to 6th year, and they make sure they always check up on you. They give you all the ropes in the beginning. They help you with everything of how to set up your account, how to set up your home, how to start studying, how do the exams work, how everything works. We really do have, I think every 3 people have 1 person to take care of them. They're very small groups. They're very personalized, and usually the guides as well, they're extremely, extremely smart students who can tutor you themselves. And if they don't have the time, they will always recommend their friends who can tutor you if you do need personalized tutor. But you will be completely fine in this sense. We really take care of you. It is a big family, and we make sure that you are doing well from the beginning. Now, if you decide to actually want to do a year abroad or a few months abroad or a summer abroad, we have easy access to this. It's including Erasmus, which is the most famous one. All the EU universities have it, where you can go to any EU university for a year. We also have IFMSA, which is a Czech organization. You can have your summers or some breaks in countries all around the world. It doesn't have to be just the EU. I know people who've gone to Brazil, who've gone to Lebanon, who've gone to Japan. You decide where you want to go, and it's a fantastic opportunity. You get to learn from other doctors, other cultures, and it's just wonderful, and it's very easy to get into. I myself was offered it, and then COVID hit, so I couldn't go, but it's wonderful. So many people have gone, and they've all had wonderful experiences up through that. We also have AMO. If you decide to go to the US, we have a partnership with AMO, which is an organization in the US that makes sure you have all your clinical rotations done by the time you graduate. So applying to the US after you've done your USMLE will be a breeze. We've had so many graduates match very well. To put into perspective, Harvard has a matching rate of 93%. And for us, we've had our matching rates for USMLE above 95% for the past 4 years. So I don't want to say we're better than Harvard, but the numbers speak for themselves. We also have multiple partnerships with the UK as well as Germany and the UAE. We have a partnership with Al Ain University, and currently we're working with partnerships with other universities such as MBRU and Gulf Medical Universities. So this is the MedSoc team right now. This is who is responsible for the student organization. This is Darren. He's our head. He's a lovely student. He gets stuff done very well, and he's very friendly. If you ever need help, you can always talk to him. We have workshops every month, I guess, every month and a half. You will hear about different organizations you can join, different teams you can be a part of. It's absolutely wonderful. And this is our dentistry group of, I think, 2 years ago when they did their last exam, and you can just see the joy in their faces. They're absolutely ecstatic about it. Now, to put into perspective of how it would work once you join our faculty, how do these 5 years or 6 years work once you are a part of it? So in the academic year, it has 2 full semesters. Each semester is made out of 15 weeks. And the classes, they start the first week of October. Now, in the first year, you're just learning what is there to the body, where is it, like just getting an outline of everything. You're not learning the mechanics of it, you're just learning what is there. So it's anatomy and it's histology. So macro, what it is from a bigger perspective, and micro, what is it from a smaller perspective, which is histology under a microscope. Then but you also have clinical experiences through nursing and through first aid. From the first aid, you will be in hospitals working with everything, as well as Czech classes, because we want you to be able to communicate with the patients. You do need to know some medical Czech, which we will teach you. And so you will be going to the patients themselves, taking their history, taking everything. I know it may sound scary that it's in a foreign language, but honestly, it's very simple. And once you learn the ropes of one language, if you know how to do the medical history, let's say in Czech, you'll be fine in English as well. You just translate it in your head. It's all the same on paper. And you will see later that you will know how to take a medical history a lot faster than people who are your age in the same field. They will be behind because you have been exposed to this environment from such a young age. You will be more far ahead in this and more confident in taking histories. So after you've learned everything of where it is, you're going to learn of how it works. How do all these functions work? So that means physiology and biochemistry. Physiology is literally the movement of things. You will learn how the heart works, how the GI system works, how everything works, and biochemistry, how it works from a smaller perspective. Then in third year is when you learn how does it go wrong and what can we do to fix it. So you've learned how it works, you've learned what's the proper way of it, and then third year it's like, how does it go wrong and what do we do when we can fix it? And this includes pathology and pathophysiology, which is, again, you can see the idea in all of these years. You learn it from a bigger perspective, which is pathophysiology, and pathology, which is from a smaller perspective, because you need to know the macro and the micro mechanisms of everything. It makes so much more sense if you do, especially in your clinical years. Unless you have a strong foundation, it will be so difficult for you to continue with your clinical years unless you have everything with the foundation years very perfectly embedded in your system, which we make sure you do, don't worry. And then the 4th, 5th, and 6th year, if you're doing medicine, 4th and 5th, if you're doing dentistry, is just clinical rotations and your state exams, which are your major exams during the last few years. You are basically at the hospital every day during these years. You don't have many classes anymore, like your classes are in the hospital. You do have lectures a few times a week, but it's mostly just learning from the patients, learning from the doctors, doing everything on your own. It's wonderful, and you get to go into more detailed clinical rotations of ophthalmology, orthopedics, neurology, neurosurgery, everything. So you get an idea of every field so that you know what you like, but more importantly, you know what you don't like and what you don't want to specialize in. So it gives you a better idea when you are in 6th year and you're ready to graduate and work, you know what fields to pursue and what fields not to pursue. So this is our university. So over here on the top right, it's the Dean's building. It's where a lot of dentistry students, you will have your classes over here. And also you have all your admin work here. A lot of our guest workshops are here. Guest lecturers are here. Wonderful, wonderful building. Over here is the anatomy lecture room. This is where you will have your first lecture hall, and you will have our anatomy professor, Dr. Sadmera, come and tell you everything about how it works. It is a wonderful room, and it's very big, and it has so much history. You will learn all about it when you are there. So this is the anatomy hall. Over here is Apolinarska. This is the gynecology building, and this is where you have your last exam of university. So this is a very meaningful building to all of us. It's where we enter as a student and where we leave as a doctor. So this is a very, very meaningful building to all of us. Now, if you want to compare Czech Republic versus the UAE, it might seem very random to compare the two, and there's nothing to compare, but the differences and the similarities, they do help a lot to put into perspective of what country you will be entering to. So I know Dubai is very modern. I was raised there myself. I was there since I was 3 years old, but as much as I love Dubai and I love how modern it is, imagine you come to a country that's the complete opposite of that. There's so much history every corner you go. There's so much energy of different stories and different historical figures in every statue and every street. And our campus, it's not like a physical bordered campus like most universities you would think of. Your campus is the city of Prague. So you would just go in every corner and discover new things of Prague. And I think that's a lot more fantastic than being confined into a little space that you know that this is just your university. Your whole city is the university, which I think is wonderful. Now, in Dubai, we do have one season, I guess, or a season and a half. It's either hot or it's boiling, right? So in Prague, you will have the wonderful, wonderful experience of having all 4 seasons. Right now, it's the beginning of spring. You will see the cherry blossoms are blooming, the flowers are blooming as well. It's so wonderful. And then in winters, it's snowing. You are an hour away from the ski slopes. If you don't know how to ski, don't worry. I didn't know how to ski when I first came, and now I love it. I can't not go skiing at least once every 2 weeks during the winter period. It's such a wonderful experience. So you will have access to all 4 seasons. Our summers are very warm as well. They go into the late 20s, early 30 degrees. And autumn, it's beautiful. The leaves are falling. I cannot tell you how nice it is to actually experience 4 seasons after living somewhere that only has, well, Dubai seasons. Now, affordable living, thankfully, you can still afford to live the life you want in Dubai, but it's for a fraction of the cost. The houses aren't bad, the pockets and the groceries and the day-to-day living is not affordable. You will be completely fine in this sense. And we are actually the most beautiful city in the world, the 6th safest city, and the 16th happiest place to live. And take it from me, like I left Dubai to come here to study, and I've stayed here because I loved it so much that I didn't want to go back to Dubai or didn't want to go back to anywhere else. I willingly chose to stay in Prague because of how much I loved it. So these are some of our graduates of previous years. As I said, this is the same building as the Apolinarska. At your 6th year, you will have a day where you will wear your white coats, you will come, you will take a bunch of photos, and it's just so reminiscent. And this was the COVID year. You can see they're throwing their masks off. They were so fed up by the pandemic, but thankfully it all went well. We handled it very well, and now they're all like doing very well in their fields. Now that you know what the university is, and I hope you liked it, how the admissions process works is that first you need to submit everything before April 30th. The documents are all written online on the website, and I'm sure Dr. Bisman and Dr. Blakova will tell you more about it soon. But this will also include a personal statement, and you need to pay a fee of 7,000 crowns, or it's 1,110 dirhams with the application. Once that has gone through, you have the entrance examination, which is a written test of 75 questions, 25 questions per section. And this includes biology, chemistry, and physics. I know the physics may sound worrying to some of you, but don't worry, it's a conglomerate. So if you don't do well in physics, but you do very well in chemistry and biology, it will even it out. So for me, it was the opposite. My physics was very well, but my chemistry was quite weak. So it evened out, and I was able to pass the exam. Now, when I did my exam, I had I could have one answer, two answers, three answers, no answers. But you guys have only one, the single best answer per question. So I think that's a very big benefit to yours. Now, once you pass this exam, you have an online interview, which is called a multiple mini interview, or MMI. These will be 9-minute interviews, 4 of them, and you will have 2 minutes to prepare and 7 minutes to speak about it. This is not related to biology, to chemistry, to physics. We want to know who you are as a person. We want to know your personality. We want to know, how can you think? What's your critical thinking? How can you role play with a patient? How can you think outside the box? How can you calculate on the spot? We want to know what is your personality outside of the books. And then once that has gone well, you need to show proof of your secondary education, which is just your high school diploma, and then you're enrolled. We will give you a big booklet providing with all the information necessary, with everything that you will need. And we are also having an induction course, which will be right before university starts, and it will all be in the document. But this is basically to give you a soft launch of Czech Republic, to immerse you in the culture, to get you to know everyone that you're going to be in university with. So you won't have that big of a cultural shock once you come to Prague and you start university. And then you're enrolled. Now, I know you might have a lot of questions right now. So let me cancel out some of the main ones. We do not have any specific language requirements. I know some universities require TOEFL or IELTS or something more. We don't need that, but you do need to know English at a very well level, since all of our courses and exams are in English. You can apply for both general medicine and dentistry at the same time. It might be a bit complicated because you would have to do the application twice and you would have to pay the fee twice. But if this is what you want, it is possible. We do give that option. And there are 150 places for medicine every year and 40 places for dentistry. If you have successfully passed the exam, you can pay a deposit of 2,900 euros or 75,000 Czech crowns, which I know means nothing to you because you have no idea what the Czech crown is. But this will ensure you a place in our 2-week course, and it shows that you have interest in our program. And the annual fee is 23,700 euros or 600,000 Czech crowns. And we have possibilities of grants, of loans, and you have a lot of scholarship options once you are in the university, and you can get up to a 50% scholarship from your second year, depending on your grades and how well you do your exams. And you don't have to come to Prague for the entrance exam. If you can talk to Qadri, and they will announce you the dates of when the entrance exams are for Czech Republic, and they will give you all the details for that. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Halidi, for that very informative presentation. I think we covered almost all of the topics. Now let's move on to the Q&A session, where students, you have the opportunity to type in the questions in the Q&A box. It's going to be an icon at the center bottom of your screen. And you can start typing in your questions. We'll be answering them. But before that, I would just like to tell you that the contact details for the application and to register for the entrance exam, and just drop them in the chat right now. The application deadline is, as Dr. Haldi just told us, which is the 30th of this month, tomorrow. So you can definitely contact us for more information and to register as soon as possible. With that being said, let's move on to the Q&A session. We already have a couple of questions that Dr. Brisbane has helped us answer, so you can read the answers in the Q&A box as well. Number one question is by Nasreen. What will be the steps to pursue specialization after completion?
So I might just take the opportunity to greet everybody, say hello to everybody. Good afternoon, good morning still here, but good afternoon where you are most likely. My name is Dr. Brisman. I'm the Vice Dean of the First Faculty of Medicine, Charles University. Dr. Khaledi, thank you so much for a brilliant presentation. It's lovely to see you, lovely to hear from your perspective as a resident from UAE, grew up in UAE, in Dubai, and our graduate that we're very proud of now working here in Prague. I'll also just quickly introduce Dr. Vlachova. She is the lead coordinator, academic coordinator for our admissions system program as a whole. I've answered a few questions already. I'll go back over those, but I wanted just to give you a very brief further introduction about the faculty. As Dr. Khaledi said, we are 767 years old, if I remember correctly, this year, 1348. Though, as Dr. Khaledi said, we may be old at heart, but with our academic senate, where students make up 50% of the governing body of our faculty, of who we are, who the dean is, where the economics go, what the curriculum is. So we may be old in numbers, but we're young at heart. So the students are the most important part. You are the most important part to us. We are a state university. We are a public university. We're a non-profit making organization. Love it or hate it, we cannot make profit. We're not allowed to, which means that any revenue that we make must be put straight back into your education, into the quality of education that you have. So we don't care about money. We don't care about profit. What we care about is two things: what's up there and what's in there, what's in your heart and what's in your mind, your brains. Because of that, we have this beautiful range, metropolis of different students from all over the world, as Dr. Khaledi said. And it makes it so interesting to be here in the center of Europe, where once you have your visa, if you need one for being in the EU, because of the Schengen zone, you could literally go from here to Portugal to Italy without needing your passport, without needing anything else, on quick trips, either by train, by plane, by any way possible. Our ethos as a faculty, as who we are, our aim is to make you the best you can be, is to help you achieve the maximum of your potential, both at university, but also in life. And that is really what Dr. Khaledi showed very beautifully, is in every way that we teach you and every way that we interact with you, is to help guide you. No longer will you be a high school student who's being spoon-fed information. We are training you to be the best in the world. And as Dr. Khaledi said, our USMLE results speak for themselves. So, 3 years ago, we had 100% pass on first attempt for USMLE. 2 years ago, 94%. Last year, 96.2%. And as Dr. Khaledi said, I think Harvard averages at 93%. And we create truly the world's greatest doctors and dentists. And because we are creating these international doctors and dentists, we actively encourage you to get experience abroad. And we do everything we can to help you getting that clinical experience abroad, including we have a relationship with the UAE. We were the first ones to sign with the University of Al Ain. And we have students every year from Al Ain coming to us doing rotations. We have the ability for our students to go to Al Ain to do rotations. We've been contacted by the Gulf Medical School, and we're in negotiation with MBRU and others, so that you can do some of your clinical rotations back in UAE during your studies with us. Not only that, the UAE government contacted us before the new year in November, December, saying that they want to start sponsoring students and they want to give automatic recognition of our degree to graduates. So as Dr. Khaledi said, there would not be the 2-year moratorium where you have to do work elsewhere. But in UAE, they'd like you to come straight back to work with them because of the high reputation that we have. So that's under negotiation at the moment. So we are negotiating for this. We are ranked in the top 1% of all medical schools across the globe. So our accreditation is truly global. Not only, of course, we're recognized here in Czech Republic. I say, of course, but there are some universities in Europe where the degree is not actually valid in the country in which it is taught. So you have to be a bit aware. But in the Czech Republic, all the medical schools are recognized in Czech Republic and have full EU accreditation, which means that you can work anywhere across the EU. Our degree is fully recognized by the UK. So whether you're studying medicine or studying dentistry, both the GMC, General Medical Council, and the GDC, General Dental Council, give automatic full registration in the UK upon graduation. No exams, no PLAB, no UKMLE. Apply, and within about 3 weeks, you get your registration, and it's a full registration. Unlike the UK, where it is a provisional registration and you have to do FY1, our graduates go straight in at F2, FY2 level. So when you look at that in a comparison for the parents that are here, or even for the students that are interested in going to the UK, if you go to the UK, if you want to study in the UK, you're being charged about 55, 60,000 pounds on average to study in the UK. There are 450 approximately places available to study medicine in the UK for the whole of the globe. So you're competing against the whole world for about 450 places in the UK. The medical studies in the UK are 5 or 6 years at 50, 60,000 pounds a year. And when you graduate, you have provisional registration. You have to do another year of internships to get the full registration to work in the UK. And the degree is not recognised or not valid in the UK, and they didn't do WFME because they don't want leakage of students to the US, so it's not fully recognised in the US either. You study with us here in Prague. We're ranked higher than the majority of medical schools in the UK. You do 6 years at less than half the price of studying in the UK per year, and the living costs, of course, in Prague are much cheaper than those in the UK. When you graduate, you have automatic full registration in the UK, so you skip a year and go a year ahead of those colleagues, and you have recognition across the globe. We are accredited in all 50 states of the US, one of only 20 medical schools outside the US to have California state accreditation. So anyone who has American citizenship, American passport, can get the full FAFSA Article 4 loan. Or if you are a military veteran, then you get the full GI Bill, which is the grant of $25,000 a year. And there are many other countries which offer government-funded places, and even some hospitals which will fund students to work with them or work for them afterwards for the whole 6 years of studies with us. So a couple of the other questions that were asked in the Q&A were about the admissions process. Dr. Khaledi talked about it, but I'm going to pass across just to Dr. Vlachova for a moment, talk a little bit more about the admissions, the exams, and how to get into us.
Hello, everyone. So welcome to this webinar. I'm so happy that you joined us, that you can hear from Dr. Khaledi how excited she is about the university. I have to say, it touched me when I was listening. I could not, not remember how it felt to enter the anatomy lecture hall and so on. So sorry, I just really needed to say that because it just 10 years later, even it still provokes the same feelings. Anyway, about our admission process. It has two parts, as Dr. Khaledi has mentioned. One of them is theoretical biology, chemistry, and physics. It's a written test that we organize in venues all around the world upon a request from our international partners, such as Dear Trusted Quadri. For this test, obviously, you can prepare in advance. There are also example questions on our website, and if your curriculum includes biology, chemistry, physics, and you can also check that on our website, it prepares you to a high degree for this test. So that part should be covered after your high school education. And as for the second part, that is the fun part, that is the part that I'm passionate about. It's the interview. And again, as Dr. Khaledi has mentioned, this interview is supposed to let you show yourself to us, we get a chance to get to know you better, to get to know how you think, how you talk, and what special and not theoretical knowledge related characteristics there are in you. We give you a chance, we help you throughout the interview to really allow you to shine. I'm not sure whether at this point, because if I remember correctly, none of you asked specifically about the MMI part, but if you do have questions, maybe for little tips for how to prepare, we obviously can mention some little tips and hints. Anyway, I think there was a question related to the admission process, rather connected to the order of the things, if I remember correctly. It was if a student is going to give exam on the 12th of March, when he can start the application process. Maybe I would like to ask for a clarification of this question, because you might mean the enrollment process, because the application happens before you take the exam. So
I think I can answer this question, right?
Okay.
If you are looking for September 2025, you can start your process in September 2024, because there will be entrance examination in Jan and April. So we will start taking the application from September 2024, and then you can start the process, contact us, and we will guide you and we'll tell you what to do next now. So our address and contact details are here already. I think Zara has written everything. So please contact us, and we would be more than happy to guide you for this. Yes, Zara,
so to clarify a bit more, our admissions process, we accept students from all over the globe. So we have many from UAE, we have from throughout Europe, we have from America, we have from Australia, from Africa, we have from literally the whole globe. So it's a global citizenship here at our faculty in Prague. And because we accept students from all over the world, we like to be fair. We're a very fair country, very fair faculty. It's in our nature of whom we are. It would be unfair to ask for specific grades from A levels, IB, SAT, AP, because there's no way of saying that 42 points at IB is exactly equivalent to
it's
3 A's at A level or other ways. So we do not ask you for grades. And we also know that A levels or SATs or IBs do not assess for who's going to be a good doctor or dentist. So we do not care about your grades. We implore you to do the very best that you can in your high school exams, CBSEs, SATs, whatever it may be, but we don't care about your grades. What we care about is our admissions process. Our admissions process is the same for all over the world. It's the same exams, same interviews level for the whole globe. So that is fair. So you have to complete your high school education. You must pass your exams, and we implore you to do the very best that you can do, but we don't ask for specific grades. I think Dr. Vachla wants to take over.
I wanted to add that, as Dr. Brisman has mentioned, our income also goes into the improvement of the process. I like to say that it is accessible and inclusive. We are trying to allow, and more trying to allow all the students from all around the world to take part. And they can, if they've completed their secondary education, which is the condition that you must fulfill. And it is inclusive, which means as Dr. Brisman said, you don't need to pass with any specific grades. We understand that they are not comparable around the world. We try to think of our international applicants pool as one big family that we want to invite to our faculty. And really, it would be only in our mind to think that we can compare what happened before. We try to invest energy, thought, and money into the process of cherry picking those that they obviously show interest in studying with us, and prove themselves to be prove that they have energy, that they have interest, that they have a way of thinking that will help them pass the demanding study and become safe and excellent professionals. That is what we care about, and that is what we try to put into our admission process. It is to a large extent objective, but there are subjective hints, and we've been through the studies, we've been through the clinical years, and we understand a bit more about what the real difficulty is, a doctor, what you tackle in your personal life as well. So we are really trying to put that knowledge into our admission process, not just say, hey, you're not good in chemistry, so you can't be a doctor. That is not true. We would be lying. We know that already with our experience. So we invite you to seeing you in our interviews.
And with the admissions process, it is only valid for the year that you are applying. So you cannot apply a year ahead. It's only valid for that year that you are taking the exam. We offer exams actually on a monthly basis across the globe. However, you must bear in mind that there is a visa requirement for anyone without an EU citizenship. And if you require a visa, this can take up to 3 months to obtain, sometimes a little bit longer. The visa is your responsibility. The university will give you all the documents that you require from the university perspective, but we cannot, and we have no effect on you gaining your visa. That is up to you and the Interior Ministry. And we found in the past that if we try and raise an issue where someone's been delayed for some other reason, a red flag is raised on that account as to why we're getting involved in it. And it often takes even further investigations and delays things even more. So although you can take the exam many times, I would not advise you sitting the entrance exam beyond the April-May sitting at the latest. May is already probably too late. I would strongly advise that you have the Quadri team, which we've been long-term partners, very successful long-term partners with. Quadri organization, international organization, is fantastic. They look after their students, they guide their students brilliantly, both with the entrance admissions procedure, but also through to the visa requiring process. You can take the exam with Quadri both in Dubai and also in Qatar. So speak to the team, they will guide you on the possibilities for it. And if those aren't convenient, we can discuss about other possibilities across the globe that Quadri can organize for you to take. Some other questions that were about was predicting scores from school. As I said, we don't care about predictions. We don't care about your high school grades. We implore you, we ask you to do the very best that you can do. But what we care about is our admissions, our personal statement, written papers, and interview process. More questions that we had. So there's a question at the very beginning, which I apologize, I didn't answer quite yet, which was about specialization upon completion. Specialization upon completion is dependent upon what you want to specialize in and where you want to specialize. So it's all dependent upon which country that you wish to go to. If you want to stay in Czech Republic, like Dr. Khaledi did, then you choose a speciality that you want to go into and you start the process, the postgraduate training straight away like that. Myself, I studied medicine here in Prague when my hair was more up here than down there. I went back to the UK straight afterwards, continued my postgraduate training as a doctor in the UK. I stupidly fell in love with head, neck, and face surgery, which requires you to be dual qualified, both a doctor and a dentist. So I then studied dentistry at King's College in London. And then completed my training. I was a consultant surgeon at the Royal Free, which is one of the NHS flagship hospitals, and a senior faculty member, teacher, lecturer at UCL Medical School before coming back to Prague. So many of our students will go straight to the US. And we have, as mentioned beforehand, one of the highest residency matching rates there. In fact, I was contacted by the head of the IMG prep organization for residency in the US because their top 5 positions all had one thing in common. They all came from first faculty, which was full scholarship postdoc to Harvard, to Yale, to Stanton, Cornell, Browns. I think Dr. Khaled knows more about them. Many of them were her classmates. All taken, top 5 slots went to our graduates in the US. From the UK, we have a number of UK hospitals, NHS trusts, as well as the dental conglomerates like Dental Partners, like My Dentist, Bupa and the others, who they actively come out to Prague. And not only will they offer you electives in earlier years, like UCL and King's and Royal Free will offer electives for students during the clinical years, but they actively recruit the Great Western, Plymouth University Hospital, Wiston and Liverpool. More than 50 of our students every year have job offers from the UK hospitals. Medical students have job offers in UK hospitals before they've graduated. So as soon as they graduate, they go straight into a job in the UK. From dentistry, our reputation in dentistry is really second to none. So every single one of our dental graduates is not just given a job offer, they are literally fought over by the dental conglomerates, specifically in the UK, for which one they'll go to work for. So they have numerous job offers, they literally are fighting over them. Then we have other countries, Germany, where some of the German hospitals and government will give 100% tuition fee funding for all 6 years and a guaranteed job in their hospitals in Germany upon graduation. We had the number one slot for German postgraduate training in Charité, neurosurgery, go to one of our graduates every year, Christian Enterman. And it goes on and on and on like that across the globe. So let's answer some more questions.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Bisman. I think there's also a follow-up question to the comment that you just passed regarding the UK and US. Majid wants to know, how about practicing dentistry in the US? Do the students still need an additional 2 years of study?
For dentistry, so dentistry in the US is a little bit strange, not like medicine. Dentistry, the US, it's a closed market. They do not recognize any country outside the US for automatic recognition. So you have to do either 1 or 2 years of this specialized dental program in the US to be able to have recognition. You're recognized for that program from our degree, but it's impossible for anyone who has not studied dentistry in the US. It's a huge profit-making market for them there in the US. It's all private, so they don't want to be flooded with dentists. So to be a dentist in the US, you have to do, I think it's a 1 or 2 year degree or qualification confirmation, which some of our students have gone through. But to be honest, dentistry is a wonderful career, says the man who does hospital practice as a surgeon, even though he's a dentist. Dentistry is a wonderful career where, fortunately, you can make very good money doing a wonderful job helping people. And so whether you decide to stay in Czech Republic, where the dentistry is one of the highest quality in the world and very well paid, as many of our dental graduates are looking at doing, or go to the UK, where many of them are how to put it, are persuaded to go to, the earnings as a dentist are always going to be high, and the quality of life from that is very high. So the US, to go and do another year is, you're welcome to, but it's personal choice.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the next question by Ruchi. Is the degree recognized by MCI, Medical Council of India?
So I apologize. I don't know every single country. I understand that we are recognized in India. I know that the Indian government has been pushing to get more relationships with us with some of the hospitals and the universities. There is something with the NEET exam, and I apologize, I don't know the full details for every single country that with the requirements. But we are a WHO recognized, fully recognized medical school, ranked in the top 1% of all medical schools globally. So to be honest, we don't have many graduates that wish to go to India upon graduation. They more stay in the UK, Europe, US regions upon graduating.
All right. We have a question by Ahmad. Can anyone apply to any scholarship available, or are there any specific requirements, and what factors will assist the students for receiving the scholarship?
Brilliant question. So we offer scholarship. We offer a variety of scholarships. You must bear in mind that we are not a private university. We're not a profit-making university. So we don't have means-tested scholarships because we're non-profit making. But we like to reward and to encourage our students for excellence. So every year, 10% of all students in each year will get a scholarship. Then we have other scholarships available where merit-based, where if you really excel at your exams on a year-by-year basis. And what we're also looking to bring in, although I can't promise it's in yet, is that the top students who achieve in the admissions process can get huge scholarships, up to 25% of their tuition fees. We're working on other scholarships, or we have other scholarships where students can get for other activities, for sporting achievements, for other achievements in the name of the faculty and the university, leading up to possibly 50% of tuition fees. And we have other scholarships and funding available where students receive 100% tuition fee funding from a variety of governments because of their just being citizens of those countries and the government recognition of our studies. But also, if you're willing to go and work, for instance, in Germany, if you're wanting or willing to work in Germany upon graduation, which will mean you need to study German and speak it to a reasonable standard, then you can apply for 100% tuition fee funding for all 6 years with a guaranteed job in German hospitals upon graduating. And there's similar things with other countries as well that we have.
All right. We have the next question for Dr. Khadri. Abdurrahman wants to know, do the students have to do online application or apply through us, and when is the next exam date?
Well, you can apply through us, and the next examination will be on April 14 in Qatar, and April 20 will be in Dubai. So, but tomorrow is a deadline, so please apply as soon as possible. Otherwise, you may will lose this year. We have sent you an email for this also. Yes. Next, please.
Okay. With that being said, I think we've answered all the open questions. If there was anything that was not answered, or if the students have any other questions, our contact details are mentioned in the chat. I will just copy paste them right now. And you can always contact us to register for the entrance exam and for the application as well. And as Dr. Qadri said, the application deadline is tomorrow, so you'll have to contact us as soon as possible. Let's just take one last question by Ruchi. Ruchi wants to know, can the students appear more than one time for the entrance exam?
A student can take the entrance exam only one time in an academic year. So the admissions procedure only one time in an academic year. So speak to the Qadri team. We have exams so the next one, Dubai, is in a few weeks' time. So we need to get your application in soon for that. And Qatar, I think, as well, a similar time period. There are other exams that the Qadri International team can organise for you to attend, which are located in other countries. But if you take the exam much beyond April, you're not going to get the visa in time for the induction course that we have in September, which is this 2-week intensive Czech language, introduction to all the studies, all different groups of lectures.
Experience.
That's right, cultural experience, history of Czech Republic, team building, lots of fun stuff. You get a white coat, stethoscope, things like that, and you learn about studies. You learn about how to use the computer system, all the different groups, all the different classes, everything. So that's gonna be a lot
Survival
of fun.
tips.
So I see a question about acceptance rate. We have about 8 applicants for every 1 place available in medicine. It works out about 4.5 applicants for every 1 place available in dentistry. So in the first year, there are approximately 160 places available for medicine and 40 places available for dentistry. And as Dr. Vlachova was mentioning earlier, the whole point of our admission system, it's a filtration system. It's a system which is devised, and we have a huge, about 120 staff working on it constantly, to select not just the top students, but whom we believe will succeed at medical school, of course with the exam, but throughout the time of medical school and life beyond. So that once you are part of our family, that we will be behind you, will be willing for your success, not just at university, but in life beyond. A question about Czech language. So the whole course, all 6 years, is taught in English. All 6 years is taught in English. We do teach you Czech language because that is the native language of this country. We teach you both get around town Czech as well as medical Czech, because I personally believe that if you're unwell in your own country, you shouldn't also then have to speak a foreign language. As you see from Dr. Vlachova's Czech, and you see from her, she's got perfect, fluent English. And the people here do speak, everyone speaks English. But when you're unwell, if you're in pain, discomfort, you shouldn't be forced to have to also ask or speak to your medical professional in a foreign language. So we like to train our students also in Czech language, saying that everything, even the clinical years, you can do everything in English if your Czech is not up to a standard. Either there is someone there who'll translate, a doctor will translate, other students will translate. But I hope that by that point, your Czech will be of a standard that you can communicate with your patients in Czech. Saying that, that's also why we actively encourage you to do clinical rotations abroad. Because when you go abroad, let's say Dr. Khaledi was talking about the UK. The UK healthcare system, the NHS, is very different to the European or Czech healthcare system, which is a Bismarck DRG-based system, whereas the UK is a Beveridge centralized system. So if you want to work in the UK, it's important for you to get clinical experience in the UK, in the healthcare system in which you wish to work. The same in the US, again, a very different system to both the European system or the British system. So it's important that you get clinical experience in that country. So we will actively encourage you to do, like Dr. Khaledi said, Erasmus, IFMSA, or the direct agreements that we have with the various different countries to get clinical experience in the language, the culture, and the healthcare system of the country in which you wish to work upon graduation.
Right.
That seems to have
Thank you
ended all
very
the
much.
questions.
Yes,
I always
it
say
definitely
that.
looks like. Go ahead, please.
So I always say that all questions are good questions. There are no such thing as silly questions. It's just about being brave enough to ask the question. We love questions. That's what we're here for. And I know we're almost out of time now anyway. So that if we do run out of time, usually what happens is 5 minutes later, you think, I wanted to ask that question. Don't worry about it. That's what Qadri International is here for. You could directly contact them. They will answer any questions you might have. Or of course, you can get in contact with the faculty, directly with the faculty or with our MedSoc, our student union, as Dr. Khaledi was talking about. They're even now, when you're at that interest time period, they're here for you, about you. They'll interact with you. They've got website, Facebook, Instagram, everything, and they would love to communicate with you and give you advice and guidance on everything. So I thank you all very much for your time, Dr. Khaledi, Dr. Vlachova, also for your time. Here it's actually it's a holiday here today in Prague. So thank you both for your time coming out on this day. To all of you attending, also thank you very much, and also to Qadri International, to Zara and to Dr. Qadri for inviting us and for giving us this opportunity. Thank you all both very much as well.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brisbane, Dr. Veronica, Dr. Khaledi, and all the students, and hope to see some of the students on the campus now. Thanks. Have a lovely day.
We indeed do.